Hey guys, it's Adam here, founder and CEO of Sierra Pacific Group and the creator of the ConnectWise Boss Facebook community. We help technology business leaders get the most out of the ConnectWise ecosystem and products so that they can actually really succeed with their technology business. With proven best practices, we do implementations, custom projects. We want to make sure you get quickly and efficiently up to speed and growing your organization. We've done several thousand implementations, optimizations, and we have the answers. We've done the hard work, so you don't have to learn the hard way like I did. So we're here for PitchIT, and I have my co-host, significant other, or whatever you want to say.
Yeah, let's stick with that. I like that.
Only for this hour window, twice a week for literally the past month and a half.
I'll take every hour I can with you, Adam. Thank you.
Thank you. You like my new digs back here?
I was gonna say, first off, your mic sounds great. Your video looks good. The office looks great. I mean, like, I feel like I gotta step up my game now. Like, I feel like
moved into a new office and everything too. So I went from upstairs to downstairs in my house, and I decided to put the same brick wall, put some lights on it. Got a new. I switched from my webcam to DSLR. Got some little things, and we got a studio now. I got to get some tent in the window to kind of stop that light from coming in.
The light's not too bad. I'm just curious. Is that like a printer back there you have?
I have to put the printer in the view, and then I actually have my entire library. I just haven't worked on it yet, but there's a bunch of really cool business books down there, which I'm going to be talking about here over the next couple of weeks.
I feel like the printer should go away because it makes MSPs nervous. I mean, printers are like the bane of their existence. I swear. Like, it just.
Whoa. I think just last week we actually spoke with a printer.
Yeah, and he kind of agreed. That's why he's moving into the MSP space.
Oh, I'm on that. So, Sean, why are we here?
Oh, so that great question. So we are here to, as we're progressing through the 16-week accelerator program of PitchIT, this competition. And PitchIT competition, what it is, like I told you a few weeks ago, it's Thunderdome. It is really about having the 18 competitors go against each other. And the 18 vendors go in, 3 vendors out. 1 vendor becomes the winner at the end. But as I go through this program for 16 weeks, you're looking at, which actually, by the way, we're a little over a month away from making a decision on 3 finalists, just so we're clear. But PitchIT was founded about 5 years ago, and it was built in a way to start to really invest, for ConnectWise to invest into the growth of the partners, or the vendors rather. And these vendors are all directly tied to the success of the partners. So it's a pretty big deal across the board. And you should already have the next banner up. This comes down to the 3 promises. Look at you, on point. And the 3 promises that Jason McGee and ConnectWise put out almost a year ago at IT Nation Connect, where we talked about the easier to do business with and the even more invested and partners growth and the more innovations faster. These are all big deals to us, and PitchIT is definitely the essence of all 3, just simply because the vendors it creates some really cool stuff. For those that have watched it, are able to see some of the really cool products.
Yeah, it's been awesome. I mean, I will say every single one of these organizations that are involved in this particular PitchIT are brand new. Like, I just really have not heard of them. I think Binox, I think they had a little thing last year, but I think that's the only one. And I know like some other ones we've done. I maybe see occasionally, but this is a big year for them stepping up and doing this competition. It's huge, and it's really been part of the whole ecosystem that's ConnectWise is creating. It's really working out, and hey, here's this program, here's this PitchIT. It's allowing a little investment, and really polishing these products off for the community, the MSP community. It's really huge. So.
Absolutely, no, it is, and well, let's say I always say, hey, the 3 finalists, the first place winner, they win $70,000, which is pretty cool. Second place is $30,000. Third place, well, they got a trip to Orlando with a booth, right? And you're like, no, and you always say, then no, there's so much more. You're absolutely right. There is so much more.
There's more.
There's more. And the more is, like, again, we have some of the best Cameo coaches that have stepped up that are all practitioners in their space, from mergers and acquisitions to technology integrations to sales and marketing to operations to and every single week, these vendors have been in this on a workshop every week since the beginning of this. And also, we now have them doing these webinars. And we already started the other slew of webinars too now with me, Tom Lawrence, and them on there now too. So they're literally working overtime to get the exposure, the experience, and everything needed to be more successful.
Awesome. Well, it's fantastic. So, Sean, we could talk, several hours, and I'm sure we're gonna have some webinars coming up, and just me and you, or live streams, just me and you, just DJing it, and
oh, dude, I'm buying it.
Stuff going on. But we're here for one reason. It's for PitchIT contestants, and I do want to bring on Tim Golden of Compliance Risk. How you doing, Tim?
Hey, I'm probably doing better than the printer behind you at this point.
Thank you.
Well played. Well played.
But, I see that the bear is overlooking the printer. So maybe at some point the bear will just attack the printer and go all office space, and we'll be done here.
That's exactly what I thought about. It is office space is probably casting me understanding how bad printers really are. Let's be honest. And it's the only really good story I ever had about a printer is that story. So Adam, you're gonna have people have PTSD, so you have to remove that.
I know, right?
Exactly.
Look at Matt Lee joining us live. I love the beard there, Matt. It's fantastic.
It's going away in November.
I know. And I'll give Matt and their team a shameless plug. For those of you that aren't familiar, head over to Matt's LinkedIn page and look at what they're doing for the beard contest. I'm just going to make a shameless plug for Matt. What they're doing, shaving all their beards. Sean, you're getting yours shaved, aren't you?
That is correct. I am part of it.
Yes. So, I would say, go hit Matt up, look at what they're doing over there, donate, share, love.
Yes, please share with everybody. Thank you, Tim. I try not to throw too many shameless plugs in one session. It's a bad idea, but I'll take it from here.
Tim, what do you do, Tim? I gotta ask.
What do I do?
Yeah, what do you do?
Well, funny story. You should ask, right? Because hire the dyslexic illiterate guy to write your policies for you, because that's kind of what they did back in 2006 when I got our first government contract, and they were like, "Hey, 853, you should do that." Okay, so I've been involved in the compliance space, writing policies, procedures, adhering to frameworks since roughly 2006, 2007, and it's basically been my life day in and day out for way longer than I'd like to admit. But besides what I'm doing in the compliance space, we have an MSP as well. Don't need to tell you about that. You all know what an MSP is. But generally here with compliance risk, we've kind of found a couple of problems that, kind of have spearheaded and come to fruition over the last couple of years. As we made the shift from government contracts to commercial space in the compliance space and in the MSP space, I started to engage with a bunch of MSPs like yourself and found out that a lot of you have questions about compliance. And so taking this, 16 plus years of dealing with compliance frameworks and being able to, quote, give that back to the community, it's kind of where I led in the last 2.5 years of building out where we are today.
Yeah. So I hear MSPs don't even need compliance, right?
No, probably not. Unless they're like, HIPAA. Well, HIPAA's changing. Unless they're CMMC. Well, wait, that's changing.
Yeah.
Unless,
So I'm going to be the guy and ask the really, really crazy question. I'm one who doesn't really like to sit behind a keyboard and type up a bunch of compliance documents and so forth. Are you an attorney? Do you like doing Word documents and stuff?
Oh, so our solution is actually getting rid of the whole Word document thing, because that is the bane of my existence, right? So on average, typical company, 15 or so policies, right? Access control, password, blah, 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 blah. Like on average, 15 or so documents per company. I have 10. That's 150 Word documents I'm managing. Yeah, we're getting rid of that. Our SaaS solution that we're putting out is going to get rid of that whole problem and actually put in a process management for policy, from inception to authorization to adoption to review cadence, right? MSPs talk a lot about documentation. They have, onboarding policies. They have onboarding procedures, all these different things that they have. Well, why not apply that same mentality that we're already used to in the space to your compliance framework to your policy framework and your policy management program.
Yeah.
Yeah, and right, Adam, you can't just copy pasta company name anymore. Auditors and assessors can spot those things a mile away.
Wow. Okay. So how did you just run into this? Run an MSP business yourself?
So like I said, I started. We were federal government contracts mostly. Had a little bump in the road in 2018, 2019. Decided to go after commercial contracts as a real MSP, and getting involved in that community. For me, community first is very important. Being able to share that knowledge, and the MSP community is so great. And I would get on a half hour call here, half hour call there. And before I knew it, I was kind of giving away 2 or so days a week for free consulting to MSPs, which, as you know, is not sustainable. So we formulated a peer group, all compliant-based peer group. That was kind of our first product, for lack of better terms, where we teach you to fish. Peer group, weekly sessions, tons of resources, courses, all kinds of stuff, Slack, blah, blah, blah. You can see that on our website. I don't need to insult your intelligence, but peer group. And it's been going really well. And what's now come out of that is, Tim, I'm really learning a lot, but I don't have the bandwidth to do it. Can you do it for us? Great. Compliance as a service. We went from teaching you to fish to fishing for you. And that has been, kind of slowly growing, white labeling our assessment teams with MSPs to become the compliance version or the compliance division for MSPs that don't have the bench strength.
So, okay, I have to ask now. Okay, so compliance as a service. So just like SaaS and every other ass piece we can throw in there. Now, we're adding a C in there, right?
Right. Sean's got the biggest one.
I've been doing
squats. That's the biggest one. Is that the right vernacular?
Thank you. I've been doing a lot of squats and lunges. Thank you for noticing. So, so the question is, when it comes down to this, you mentioned that you're doing it for them, and you mentioned several different categories of compliances that are necessary. So, what's a typical engagement look like when I get
So great. So working with an MSP and they have a client that has a regulatory need. I don't know, let's pick a healthcare shop, right? So while they might be really good implementers of tools and technology, they might not know all the ins and outs of the HIPAA security rule or the HIPAA privacy rule. Mm-hmm. And so bringing in an expert like myself or our assessment team to be able to go through the varying controls, California privacy protection is another one. Insert whatever mouthful of acronyms here when it comes to frameworks.
Yep.
And our assessment team works alongside the MSP to identify the regulatory requirements or the legal requirements that entity needs to adhere to, align those with the risk framework, and then walk through the process of what you all like to call in the marketing terms, gap analysis. I hate that term, but it's basically an evaluation of their entire business, not just their tech stack, right?
Right.
Things like, does the finance department have a process for ACH payments, right? Not just is control A, do you do it? Control B, do you do it? But be able to be a true business partner with the MSP so that they can become a true business partner to their clients.
Gotcha. Okay. So you mentioned this is white labeled?
Yeah. I mean, I can change my background and turn my hat around and get a thing, but yeah, I mean, there's 2 types of relationships that we have with MSPs: purely white label, where Tim wears your logo, or one of our assessors, there's myself and 5 others, puts your logo on and becomes you and build all through you. Some of the other engagements are like, here's the client, Tim, go do your thing. So we really want to work with and partner with MSPs in that CAS or that compliance-based service in a manner that works for you and your business, right? We can be as flexible as we need to be. Obviously, there's terms and there's, deliverables. We're very big on reporting and deliverables. And so, whatever format works best for them.
So you mentioned what the white label part is pretty obvious. They charge their client you charge them. So it's consumption model, right?
Yeah.
Then you mentioned, I want to say, Tim, go do your thing. Are those like referral resellers then at that point, or how does that
Yeah,
look?
so it's interesting that you asked that, because there's two different models that I've been playing with there, which is basically go do your thing. I come in as a third party objective resource, and I work for the client, not the MSP.
Right.
MSP will be given two things, a referral fee, obviously, but when I get a finding or I get something that needs remediation, I'm going to suggest to the client, hey, this is something your MSP can do, where then the MSP has an opportunity to provide those remediation services. Can I do those remediation? No. We have separated the two companies, Vital Tech, MSP, compliance risk. In the event that a customer comes and doesn't have an MSP, well, go work with Vital Tech, or go work with 20 of the other MSPs that I'm friends or partnered with in your area, right? Maybe I have an MSP I'm a partner with in Boston, and I just send them over there because that's where they are. So it's really just trying to help. My end goal in life here is take the crap in my brain and give it to the next generation, so I don't have to do it anymore.
We should probably eliminate the word crap in your brain, because that's there's not very much value in crap. But
Yeah.
Okay, but compliance has become a huge issue, right? And it's in multiple forms. And the fact that you're documenting too and supporting is a huge deal. The question, but now, when I'm an MSP, I'm working with you. What's the time frame? How do I set expectations? Do you educate me on what expectations to set to these clients? How do you get me ramped up?
Let me give you a really good example, right?
Please.
So an MSP might have a defense contractor or a CMMC 800-171 engagement with their client, and they're not really sure, right? Let's say that typical Johnny's lug nut factory is 20 or 30 people, right? Our process, walking them through either ML1 or ML2, maturity level 1 or 2 in CMMC, for those that don't know, or 800-171 alignment, kind of all the same thing at this point, till the rules and regulations, whatever. But that engagement is anywhere from 8 to 12 weeks, right? 3 or 4 months.
Okay.
And that goes faster depending upon the response times from the MSP or the client, right? We have a cadence, we have a schedule, we have a tool that manages all of this stuff to gather evidence and stoplight, red, yellow, green, reports, POAM, all that kind of fun stuff that you're, sort of used to in a gap analysis or an evaluation, like I like to use. Basically, it's 8 to 10 weeks,
Okay.
12 weeks max. I've had them done in as quickly as 6 weeks, because I'm working directly with a client and we're firing stuff back and forth very rapidly, and poof. But obviously we don't want to burden our clients. So we ask at a minimum of an hour to an hour and a half a week. There's a half-hour check-in with an hour's worth of homework.
Okay. So is there a central repository for content and communication when you use? Is there
Yes.
a standalone platform? And does this integrate into ConnectWise, or does it integrate into QBRs or anything along these lines? Is there anywhere else?
There are tools in the space, GRC, governance, risk, and compliance tools, that can help manage control frameworks, and they're kind of all the same and kind of do a little, similar things. I won't throw out a bunch of vendors' names, but if you Google GRC, you could probably find 20 of them in the first 20 links. Our platform, what we've discovered in probably 80 to 90% of these tools, and it's not just the GRC tools, it's the security awareness tools, it's other things that are in the industry when it comes to policy management. That is what we're focusing on. That is what we are looking to shape the future of, is policy management, and that whole process. I'm trying hard not to use a different word that begins with L. We're managing that policy process, and it's a full circle of life, right?
Well, it starts and ends with policy that because it supports anything you're doing.
It does. It does.
Actually, Matt Lee, if Adam could put up his comment there, actually says it. Compliance always is driven by helping business objectives, contract, or general risk. That's basically the core of every business.
Love you, Matt. Thank you. I can't keep up with the comments.
No, don't worry. We'll take care of that. So, what it comes down to is exactly those things. And so compliance is big. Now, going into this, and this is why I'm, it's always about easier to do business with. And I even asked you, is there integrations into other platforms? Does it blend? Where does it blend? How does it blend?
So our policy, and I'll let it slip here for everybody. Codename Polygon, right? Because we're shaping the future of policy management, right? So if you look at the QR code, I know you're all like, oh, QR code. This is probably the only QR code I will tell you ever to click. I'm kidding. Anyways, we're rolling out Polygon, hopefully to be launched by PitchIT by November for Connect. Polygon is, again, shaping the future of policy management. And what that is, we'll start with, hey, let's tap into ConnectWise. Let's pull your clients in from ConnectWise, single source of truth. You're not managing two different places. So we'll have that ConnectWise integration. From there, our platform will walk that MSP and their client through policy process. Number one, creation. Making sure that the thing aligns with the framework and it actually is written to what you do, right? No more copy paste template baloney, like actually write out. And our coaches are available to provide non-legal guidance around that on what goes in this box. So the first part, like I said, creation. Yay, MSP writes it. Now, because the MSP is a strategic business partner with that client, having the conversation with the C-level of, here's your password policy. Do you approve? Yes or no? Or comment, being able to then automate that piece. Hey, Mr. CFO or Mr. whatever, Mrs. whatever, she, they, him, her, whatever, sign off that this is the policy. Step 2. Step 3 is training end users. Oh my gosh, like actually adopt the policy that says you're doing what you're doing and let end users know this is what you're adhering to.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And then step 4, put it on a review cadence. So that's once a month, once a quarter, once a year. Like your DR plan says, hey, we test our DRs every month. All right, well, create a ticket in ConnectWise to remind me to go do that.
Let me ask this question. So I'm a CEO, and I'm trying to be risk adverse, right? And understand what exposure do I have, and what compliance things do I need to achieve. And one of the first things I go to is cybersecurity insurance. What are those policies around that? And
thank you for bringing that up.
And it's a pit of trying, and it's a bear just to even try to get a policy. And it's like, well, hey, does your software help MSPs become compliant in certain areas so then we can respond or check those boxes, as you mentioned earlier, in those questionnaires? Because they're way over my head, and I have to go to my CTO and say, hey, Craig, can you take a look at this insurance policy, which we just did this morning?
Yeah.
So how do you help that out?
Yeah. So the first thing I want to say is checkbox compliance is gone, period. Can we just say that? Let me say that again. Checkbox compliance is gone. Templates are gone, right? And you just nailed it on the head with the insurance industry. I'm going to give a shout out to another friend and family, Wes and Dylan, those over at Fifth Wall, MSP focused cyber insurance company. I've been having lots of great conversations with them. If you haven't, go check out Fifth Wall. Enough plug for them. But the insurance industry is going to start dictating, hey, do you have a incident response plan? Do you update it regularly? Has the C-level approved it? Have you trained the staff? Well, in an MSP right now, that's all manual. Unless you buy Tim's Polygon, and I've now automated that whole process for you. So yes.
Are you saying that every policy, every documentation, everything has to be unique to its own? You can't, because you mentioned templates are gone. you mentioned basically standardization is kind of gone away, right? Check boxes are gone. So are you saying that everything has to be done independently each time?
I'm gonna steal a comment from Matt because he actually kind of summarizes this.
Yeah.
Man, he's a baller. Appreciate you commenting on this live.
Go ahead. It's iterative process. Exactly. Matt and I have talked a lot about this, and I love that he's such a huge supporter. And, I take a lot of inspiration from Matt because, look at the smarter people around the room, right? And pull from them and engage with them, right? Absolutely iterative process. Now, to answer your specific question about standardization, that's a mouthful. Yes and no, right? So let's pick a control framework. Let's pick CMMC. Let's pick access control. There are control objectives in that little thing that says, do you do A? Do you do B? Do you do C? And so I want to make sure that I'm writing my policy to address those control objectives with what I actually do. Right? So I go grab a template and the template just basically regurgitates the requirement and doesn't really say, oh, I have Duo, or I have Jump Cloud, or I have 2FA, or I have Fido, or I have YubiKeys, whatever. It doesn't actually say the things you actually do. I get very animated with my hands.
No, it's one of my things that Sean knows when it comes to the acronyms. There are literally like probably 100 plus acronyms in the marketplace that just nobody knows what they are. It's just like let me just throw out NIST, let me throw out SOC 2, let me just throw these
well,
terms
that's why
out.
I try to make sure when I'm talking about this stuff that acronyms for the dyslexic guy is really hard. And 13 years in the military of acronyms is even harder.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Yeah. Adam is a military brat. He's not military, he's just a brat. But anyway, that's it. Moving on. So let's talk about the business value behind this. All right. What is the value? Okay, when it comes down to this, how much? Like, what are you saving people? What are they making? Where does the benefit hit the MSP? Where does the benefit hit the end user?
Yeah, so that's a really great question, because in the last, couple of months, as I've been going through PitchIT, as I've been learning from a bunch of other experts in the field around building SaaS apps and, pricing and all that kind of fun stuff, like really being able to understand what is the value to the MSP. And that is, number one, time saving. Number two, putting in a process of documented, repeatable processes as part of my business plan, as part of your MSP business plan. If I can do something, like Matt said, iterative, and have a process and a tool to back that up, so I have the people and the process, and now Tim's tool to back that up, I'm going to save myself time as an MSP. I'm going to gain operational efficiencies. I'm going to save money, and I can start to charge a premium for these kinds of services, right? Think of the buzzword vCISO, right? There's one for you, Adam. Virtual CIO, right? The landscape of MSPs are shifting to become more of a strategic partner with their business. And if Tim's tool can help me become more operationally efficient so that I can deliver those vCISO services to my client, I can save time, money, and be more efficient, and priced at a point that is significantly lower than our competitive market space.
Yep. All right. So when it comes down to it, then, because this is such a new area with insurance and everything else, right? What are we looking at? Like, what's an MSP look to do if they have 10 clients, 500 seats, right? 500 endpoints. What are they looking at for, like, what's that help them revenue wise? What's that help them on even loss side as well?
Right. So when you're looking at our application and what we're doing in Polygon, it has nothing to do with the total number of end users. It has to do with the number of clients and companies me as an MSP I'm managing, right? And so, yes, the bigger the individual client, probably the bigger engagement. And it really just boils down to the amount of time, and I can't find a politically correct term for PIA. So, smaller organizations have less opinions, so it's easier to work with. Larger ones, that's an economy of scale issue. But as far as, an MSP engaging with their client, like, number one, they're going to start to be required. Here are the 15 documents you need, not just for cyber insurance, not just for some dumb compliance framework, not a dumb compliance framework, by the way, but here's 15 or so documents that you need as a business, and you need to adopt them, and you need to train your end users, and you need to review them iteratively. Our platform will do that for you. From an MSP, being able to engage with your clients at a higher level. I mean, we're professionals. It's like hiring your lawyer. You don't hire your lawyer to write some stupid contract. Well, you do, but he's advising you on what goes in that contract. We, as a professional organization, are advising our clients. We're taking that, Johnny Breakfix to MSP to a strategic business partner, especially during these downtimes, economic stuff. Like, businesses are going to need to rely on us to find strategic things to keep them safe, to keep them secure, to get them insurance, to keep them in line with insurance stuff. And Polygon can help one piece and one big layer of that as we roll up. Where we're going forward in phase 2 and phase 3, Sean, you asked about integrations. Phase 2, you've heard me say this before, 2022 is all about APIs. Well, phase 2 for us is all about APIs. Where can we connect into? Maybe we tie into your security awareness training platform. So when the policy is approved, it automatically shows up in your FIN or your others that are out there, your security platforms.
Sure.
Right? Maybe it shows up in some of your other risk tools. Fort Mesa, for example, another PitchIT partner. They have policies. But if I automate all that process and all these things can tie together, I'm not saying single pane of glass, but I'm saying you have a place to manage this process. And I should mention this. As we're building this, everybody always asks, as a vendor, are you SOC? Are you ISO? Are you this? Are you that? Right? Because I have 15, 16 plus years in the FedRAMP space, we're building this with FedRAMP in mind. Now, it's a while to get there and a chunk to get there, but our goal is to become ISAS FedRAMP authorized over the course of the coming years, because we're starting at ground zero, taking that in mind. So when you say, am I SOC? No, better yet, I'm FedRAMP ISAS. Are you ISO? No, better yet, I'm FedRAMP ISAS. So we're taking that into consideration. So yeah.
So, but I guess the best way to position it is that you're supporting the SOC, you're supporting everything else because you're on the front end.
Yes.
And even me working with Ray Rossini, he's a document Nazi. We know he is.
Yeah.
Processes and documents, right? How hard is it, and how hard is it in this ever-changing world of technology to keep up and have the right documentation? And so now comes to my next question. You mentioned every month or every quarter or whatever you should be doing a level set, basically, right? You're checking to see if it's still compatible. Is that what the case is?
Well, yes and no. I mean, that depends on the individual policy. Like, let's take password policy. You would align your password policy to the NIST standards or some other framework standards. You don't necessarily set it and forget it, but you probably don't need to review your written policy on passwords. What you do need to review is, are they being enforced through your SOC, through your SIM, through your other tools?
Sure.
Right? And can those other tools point back to a document saying, this is our policy? So when Johnny Janitor says, I don't want to make a password, whatever, you can pull back to this document that Johnny Janitor signed off. He accepted that he's going to do this.
Yeah.
Now, password policy, you're probably not reviewing every quarter. Disaster recovery, incident response, those things dictate the cadence, right? Our DR plan says we're testing our DR plan monthly. So I'm putting a ticket in my PSA to remind my technicians to go test the DR plan and provide the evidence that they did it.
So, okay. So going back to even every process that's ever introduced into a business, right? Now I'm thinking as far, if I think of myself as an MSP, I need my own policies internally, right? Which you're going to help me with.
Yep.
And then I'm going to need policies for every individual client, and within every individual client, all the around all use cases or all departments or whatever it may be, right?
Yeah. So policy documents start, at the top down corporate level. What is the regulatory or legal requirements I have to adhere to? Align it to a framework. Like I said, there's about 14 standardized ones: password policy, incident response plan. I won't read you the list. You can see that.
Right.
You can see that once you click the QR code, by the way, and get the full list. But those generalized policy and our initial rollout are going to help your MSP and help those business units. Our goal is to get the adoption of policy. Right? You got to do this for sexual harassment. You got to do this for employee handbooks. You got to do this for all your HR stuff. Companies are used to doing that. Partnering with the HR person in those companies is your best friend, because now you can take the cyber approach to HR and do the same thing that you're already used to doing with your employees, but you're applying the cyber frameworks to it, as opposed to the HR frameworks to it.
Absolutely. Look, and by the way, Tim, here's Tim. You know Tim well. The bad part is, Adam, go to the comment prior to that, because
oh boy,
you guys are against each other. Stop liking each other so much. It's embarrassing. Like, you're in this to win. Battle this out. God.
So I do love Tim. Fort Mesa's got a great product as well.
Here we go again.
They haven't solved the problem that I have, and that is the process of managing this stuff. Right? So while they have a great product, they're taking a different spin to compliance than we are. And actually, it's going to be a really good symbiotic relationship between Polygon and Fort Mesa, because we're just going to handle their policy stuff and our application for them and their clients. Right? When I said Phase 2 is all about API, the two Tims are getting their tool man together and putting it like, well, maybe, I don't know. Hey, Tim, by the way, let's talk. But MSPs are tool overloaded. I get it. Our biggest piece is those connections with the tools that MSPs are already using or plan to use, like a Fort Mesa, and pull and push data so that we manage once, use many.
All right, cool. So now let's come back to cost. What's it going to run me to hire you, man? Like, it seems like a whole lot for me. Like, you just named a million different things I need you for, up to and including, like, you also have to, like, you're going to take the trash out, mop the floors, write a policy on it too. So I can pay for that too. So
don't laugh. I got a ticket a couple of weeks ago that there was a dead rat in the kitchen in my Denver office, and I'm in New Hampshire.
Nice.
No. So let's talk cost. Like, let's talk brass tacks.
Yeah.
3 products, right? First one is our peer group. Come join us. Slack, weekly thing every Thursday at 3. Banter about, learn about courses, material. Weekly peer group. Because you're part of this PitchIT thing, I'll give you a coupon code. Put in PitchIT when you register. You'll get 10% off. It's $250 a month. You'll get it for $199 because you're part of this live presentation today. If you see me at the event in Chicago next week, ask me for a different code. I might be able to get you more off. So, first product, our peer group. Use PitchIT in the coupon code, get 10% off. Second product, compliance as a service, unique engagement, right? Because there's too many variables in there. But let's say a typical client with one framework around, 20 to 30 employees, you're going to look at, $12,000 to $18,000 engagement to the client, not you, but to the client.
Right.
And then our flagship product that we'll be launching in November. Right now, we are under that $300 a month mark for 5 clients. You get yourself and 4 of your clients under that $300 a month mark. You as an MSP should be charging $500 or $600 per month per client. So you get that ROI back on your first client. Now, granted, there's time involved in that. I get that. But, there's that sweet spot. Like under $300 a month for you to use and automate your entire policy process and not skip steps and not miss stuff. Like that's worth a couple $100 a month.
So you just said there's time involved. How much time should I expect to allocate? How much time an MSPs expect to allocate
in the manual world right now
to one client engagement with you? First one, second, 500th one. I don't care. But how much time and where do you begin and end, and where do I begin and end?
Right. So that depends upon the maturity level of the bench strength at the MSP. If all you have is level 1 techs, you're going to rely on our team more. If you have really smart people like Matt or Tim or others, you'll rely on us less, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, the 2 models we're looking at is non-legal paid advice purchased by hour or blocks, or come join the peer group and learn from your peers.
Okay. So that's where you're teaching me how to fish at that point then in the peer group.
Right.
Got it.
Exactly.
Okay. And so no matter what, though, it seems that there's a lot of interaction. So I kudos on having a peer group first off and running that seriously. Because I don't think there's ever a time you learn anything on day one. And even back to what Matt had said even before, it comes down to reiteration, right? Go through the cycle of it, tweak things as you go. So it's good to have a group to help you, and so that's awesome. Second, when I think about this too, like I immediately already went back to integration points and whatnot. What about QBRs? What about the integration into QBR platforms? Again, not saying you're a QBR, but again, when you're setting your alerts, right?
Yes, absolutely. Right. So our good friends at Lifecycle Insights, Alex and Marnie and team over there, like we love them. I use their stuff. In fact, when we're done with this, I'm delivering my final QBR to one of my clients and then I'm done for the month. Anyways, we love LCI. And, they're a really great partner of ours. And so we actually use their platform in parts of the peer group. Like, hey, you want to do a pseudo analysis? Like, let me show you how to do this on LCI because you're already an LCI partner. Now, phase 2, API, tying into QBR platforms like Lifecycle Insights and their tool set, like their CISO modules, right? Being able to, again, pull and push data in tools that MSPs are already used to using. Like that's my nugget internally. Like, let's manage policies. Let's give them something that can help them in that part of the business. And let's tie them into where they already are, right? Let's meet them where they are.
I love that. Okay, good. Right. Adam, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. We are hitting the top of the hour here. I know I like to keep this thing to about 40 minutes. So I just want some closing thoughts. Maybe share a fun fact about you, Tim.
Yeah, I don't know if you had my original slide up there, but I am a certified bourbon steward. Prior to this, back in, like I said, 2018, 2019, when things shifted, I was all ready to start building my own brewery and my own distillery here. And I was going to leave IT and start making what we used to call Pepe's medicine or whiskey and bourbon, whiskey, the rest of those, vodka, all that fun stuff and beers. We had a whole thing. We had the whole business plan, had it all set up, ready to go. And then, my heart, my ticker wouldn't let me drink anymore. So Yeah, I kind of had to like give up on the whole booze thought and go back to IT and what I knew.
And
So
you still could have created booze. You just didn't have to drink it yourself. I mean, I don't understand. Like, that's just so
You
wrong.
got to
look,
taste
I
test.
come from a long line of dedicated Irish family members. There is no way I can be around booze all day and not want to ensure the quality of my product by sampling.
Exactly.
Okay,
You want a food
fair
line in a
enough.
restaurant, you got to sample your food as you cook it, right?
Yeah.
So
Fair enough. I mean, if you need, but you can if you want me. If you need help, I support you, Tim. I will come and taste for you. Okay, because
I'll
I
see
care
you in
that much.
Chicago next week with a couple
with a
of.
good cigar. And with that, Sean, closing thoughts there, bro.
Closing thoughts. I don't know. You want Tim to talk first?
Yeah, well, yeah, Tim, go ahead. Close us out.
All right. So, as I said in the beginning, my whole goal in life is to help educate our MSP community by taking the knowledge that I've learned. See, not using that crap word, using the knowledge that I've learned over the last 15 or plus years and giving that back to the community and hopefully getting paid along the way and giving that back to the community to make our MSPs better, right? So that we can make our clients better. Just so happen to have 3 different processes to do that.
I love it. I love it.
It's nice. Really fantastic. So, Sean, close us out for let's hear your closing.
My closing, simply put, we're in week whatever we're in right now, 8, 9, 10. I can't remember at this point, but we're far along into this, and every vendor has had something really good to say about this. And I think anybody that's been around the MSP world knows that there's so many things that are needed to be successful. And if any of us, even with just simple business acumen, you understand it. So I look at this compliancy and documentation compliancy, the whole damn thing is like this wild west at this point for a lot of people, and it shouldn't be. And I like the concept, Tim, that you're doing, because I think it saves people money, it's peace of mind. It's huge. I know anytime I wrote a document or any kind of, or even tried to attempt to do policy stuff, I think I cried. I think I was in the fetal position crying. It's just a lot. Like, it's not even like exaggeration. It just is. So I totally appreciate that. And plus, no, it protects the MSP. It also protects vendors involved with the MSPs, because we have this problem where people are pointing fingers as to who's responsible should something occur, right? Is it the vendor or is it MSP? You put the right
responsibility matrix.
Yeah, holler. See, exactly.
So get me going. That's part of what I'm baking into as well,
which is perfect. But again, once you establish this, the whole goal is to get in this world of user friendliness, but also users are the ones that corrupt the systems the most. They're the ones that click on the links and everything else and scan the QR codes when they shouldn't. Once that all occurs, if you create policy around this and documentation and support it, you're protecting both, and it's holding accountability where it belongs. So I love it. I think it's phenomenal. Thank you. I'm done.
Awesome. So yeah, Tim, it's been fantastic. Compliant.
Thank you for having me.
Just me as a CEO, just learning all about just the risk mitigation and just kind of understanding all those different various aspects. It's really, really key. And if you're an MSP business and jumping into security, having a partner like yourself is really, really super important. We are going to be revealing the winner here. What, at IT Nation Connect?
No, we will be revealing the 3 finalists at the end. First, actually, the second week of September is when we'll make the announcement of the 3 finalists, just so everybody knows.
Yep. And then the winner actually gets announced at IT Nation Connect is where I was going with this.
Yes.
And if you're not registered for IT Nation Connect, the registration is open. You can book your hotel and all that stuff. It is a new facility this year. I think it's Rosen
Shingle Creek. Beautiful. It is
Hyatt, right?
It's a nice place, actually. It is a resort. I was actually last year at IT Nation Connect. They were overbooked the hotel, so I had to stay there the first night. This place, I was like, man, I wish the conference was here. And like, honestly, you're all welcome for my wish.
Nice. And then we are actually doing a little different schedule next week because it is ChanneCon.
ChanneCon.
Yep, CompTIA ChanneCon. And it's going to be 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, both Tuesday and Thursday. So catch us live there. And we'll see you guys on Thursday, though, at normal time. So with that, Peace out, everybody. It's been fantastic. Thank you.
Thank
No,
you.
thank you.